I guess it's back. Going away. Yeah.
Excuse me. We're going to start in 2 seconds. Joan just had to make a couple copies. If any students need to get their agenda signed, if you want to do it now, in case the meeting runs late, you can come up and get them signed now. We're going to call this meeting to order. Mr. Steckel?
Yes. Would you please rise? And leading us in the pledge is Megan Madison, and she's from Palmer Elementary School, and she is president of K-Kids.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks.
John, do you have roll recorders? Before we get started, I just want to thank our choir for singing us all in. We really appreciate it. I like to hear that when I come in. So thank you if anybody is still here.
Okay, great.
All right. Presentations.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce Ms. DeVitro, who's got a special presentation for us this evening.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, I'm proud to present our team of 4 middle school students from the 7-8 building, and they're going to explain what they actually did about what's so cool about manufacturing. They have entered this Lehigh Valley Skills Up contest for 2014, and they are working with Miss Kim Sue. She doesn't want to be noticed, but she's a wonderful coach and mentor. She is our technology education teacher at the middle school. They are going to tell you a little bit about what this video entailed and how they had to create it, but I do want you to also know that these young students are student athletes. They gave up their lunchtime with their friends, their study hall for studying and doing homework to do this video. So we're very, very proud of our middle school students. I do want you to know you have time to vote, and the most votes win. They compete against 18 other schools in the Lehigh Valley, so I encourage you to go on the website and vote for our students. We actually are going Thursday evening to the Da Vinci Center to see if they win an award, so the most votes win. So I encourage you all to vote and watch the video. So I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves and explain a little bit about what they did. Go ahead.
Hello, my name's Isabella Rosso. My name's Max Catalano. I'm Emily Mitzak.
And I'm Jacob Frank. What's so cool about manufacturing is a video competition involving 19 schools. We were assigned to Follett Corporation to make our video. We went to Follett and interviewed employees and took video of the production line. We had to edit our footage into a 2-minute and 30-second video. You can watch and vote for our video at www.dreamitdoitpa.com/contest.
Great job.
So we're going to watch the video that they created over the last 4 months.
I'm Steve Follett, and I'm the president and CEO of Follett Corporation. We make ice machines, ice storage bins, ice dispensers, and beverage dispensers. And we also make medical-grade refrigerators that go into hospitals. We're creating parts and pieces of innovative ice machines, and eventually these things will be out in the use of the public. My name is Roger Brunner. I manage the ice machine new product development group. What's cool about manufacturing is that you get to see right here in the plant in Pennsylvania the designs of parts and pieces coming to life in assemblies of ice machines. My name is Scott Westwood. I'm a fabrication Boston. I program our best place here at Follett, to let you know. All the simulation, all the steps, tools that I've used to develop this part, I'm going to be able to send out to the machine. I'm Peter Balga. I'm an engineering technician here at Follett Corporation. Here is our engineering test chamber, product development, and project testing. So all the products come here before they go out the door. This is a very exciting job because every day is something different. There's all kinds of products that we have, and we're always new product development, so there's always new products coming in. So it's a real exciting field to be in.
The cool thing about manufacturing at Follett is there's a wide variety of jobs from computer-aided design to welders and freezers, machine operators, and water spider operators who drive segways to collect parts for assembly.
That's why we're educated.
There we go. We have some awards for our students.
Right, we'd like to recognize their efforts and, of course, the efforts of the teacher in being participants in this. It's great to see our district as part of the people that are involved in the contest. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Very nice job. Good job.
Congratulations.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Now we know why they were so good.
Thank you, guys. You forgot to say, don't forget to vote. Huh? Did you say that? Don't forget to vote. They want to remind us all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, this time we're going to go to our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to introduce to you a gentleman who is going to be providing our district with lots of very important information and direction, and that is Mr. Jim Thompson, who is working for the Pennsylvania Economy League. He's visiting us today. We sat this afternoon and gave him a huge stack of information about the school district, and we've arranged for dates where he will be coming back and touring our schools and visiting with officials. And I just thought it would be nice for you to see a representative from the Pennsylvania Economy League here, and for him to just offer a few words about himself and his very impressive resume. Jim?
Well, thank you for inviting me this evening. There are a couple of things that I'd like you to know. You've seen my resume. I would like you to know I'm a product of public education. I'm a 1975 graduate of Indiana Area High School. And in many ways, when I look around your school district, and I did between our meetings today and this evening, I was able to make the circuit and drive by all of your school facilities. So now I can at least say that I've seen them all from the outside, and I look forward to seeing them from the inside. You might also know that 2 years ago I volunteered for the Harrisburg School Board, and so I am an NSBA member, and I do have a passion for public education, and in many ways my small town background and my urban schools experience combined with 28 years of practicing architecture gives me a lot of experience that I commit to bring to bear to help you to the best of my ability to find fiscally prudent, educationally sound solutions for your facility and budget issues as you move forward. I was observing with interest. I happen to also recruit for MIT, and when I heard your students, one of the philosophies of MIT is applying technology for the betterment of mankind, and I thought we could be recruiting up here. So I'm very excited about being in Easton Area School District, and I'll be happy to field any questions. I know very little about your school district so far, but I have plenty of reading material to get me started.
Thank you. And I'm awfully happy that you were able to stay till tonight's meeting so that you can introduce yourself to the board and they can see you and know that you'll be coming back with at probably some other points along the way between now and I would say May 1st.
Absolutely.
Fair? Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, I have a tremendously pleasurable opportunity here this evening because the district has been a recipient of the kindness and generosity seldom seen actually in schools our size. And I want to announce that the family of Rose Campbell, former administrator and teacher in our school district, has provided the district with a very, very generous scholarship in her memory and in her husband Paul's memory. The scholarships are called the Rose and Paul Campbell Scholarships. They are going to be earmarked for future educators, and that's extremely appropriate, knowing that Rose and her husband Paul were so strongly tied to public education. Now, let me share with you some information about Rose, because Rose was a very important person in the Easton School District for many, many years. Rose Campbell, as a child, attended school at the Taylor and Washington schools, and she graduated from Easton High School in 1938. She earned her bachelor's degree from East Stroudsburg and her master's degree from Lehigh University. She began teaching at Webster School in 1942 at a salary of $1,000. She later taught at Shull. She then taught, I believe, at Packer, Stevens, and March. But what's interesting is she became a principal at Packer Elementary School in 1959. And she later served as the principal of Webster, Stevens, Cheston, March, Porter, and Tracy Elementary Schools. She retired in 1985 after contributing 43 years to the Easton schools. What a fantastic career. Now, she wasn't finished because she returned after retirement when the district called her to serve as acting principal at March, Paxenosa, and then later at Tracy School. Now, those who knew her, and I was one, described her as thoroughly professional, dedicated, and a steady educator who cared deeply about her staff and students. And as I said, when I taught in Easton, Rose was then serving as principal at March and Porter, if I recall. And one of the things that struck me about her at that time was the fact that she was indeed a female in a position that wasn't very common at the time, and being the principal of a school has always been a very challenging job. And the fact that I think she might have been a trailblazer here in Easton for young girls and women is a very fine legacy. As I mentioned, 2 scholarships are going to be provided annually, one for $500 and one for $1,000, beginning with the class of 2014. And they're going to be awarded to 2 members of the graduating class who meet the eligibility requirements and who intend to go to a 4-year college degree program in elementary education. So I would like to at this time ask Dr. and Mrs. Duffy to come forward so we can acknowledge you and thank you. We would like to, that's fine. I think a standing tribute here is applicable because you, I hope you understand that in order to provide for a $500 and $1,000 scholarship on an annual basis, the Duffys have been extremely generous to the school district in providing a very sizable scholarship account. So thank you both very, very much. The plaque that we're giving them, we're going to hang here. We're going to hang in this room to mark this very special act of generosity. And I'd like to just read it if I could. Presented to Dr. and Mrs. Paul Duffy to honor their generous gift in memory of Rose and Paul Campbell through the Campbell Scholarships. The Easton schools were blessed with the dedication, knowledge, and hard work of Rose Campbell, teacher, administrator, mentor, friend, and student advocate for over 40 years. So, thank you to both of you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. President, one last thing that I'd like to just share with the board and the public. As everyone knows, the problems that Easton has had in scheduling school over this winter, we've talked about this a number of times and sent communications out to parents. I have reason to think that we may not be finished with this yet. And as we look at the calendar between now and the end of the school year, there are a couple of things that I would like to just mention to the board at this time. We originally scheduled commencement for June 10th, and we booked Stabler. Now, the booking of Stabler is an expensive proposition. It's the only place that I think we can handle the crowd that attends commencement, and we're one of a number of districts who use that facility. We have up until just a few weeks, maybe 10 days ago, believed that we were okay with the 10th. But it looks like we might be safer in moving that back just a little. So we have talked to the people at Stabler, and because some other districts who are in the same position as we are have shifted their plans a little bit, we have it now booked for June 16, which is a Monday evening. A bit less comfortable with Monday evening than Friday evening, but given our circumstances, we really have to be careful. So we have Easton booked for Stabler Arena on June 16th, and that information will be need to get out and get publicized. I think we have plenty of time to do that. The other thing is the Monday following Easter. That is the only day that I think could be shifted from a non-instruction to an instruction day, but that will require Mr. Simonetta and me to talk to our employees and to discuss it, because it is a scheduled holiday, and we may have to do some cooperative adjustments in order to use that day, if we can, for an instructional day. But at this point, it appears the last day of school is going to be on Friday, June 10th. And is that correct?
June 13th.
Excuse me, June 13th. There we go.
And I don't want to say it, Mr. Ross.
That's right. Friday the 13th will be, that's somehow an appropriate end to the school year. Friday the 13th. That is scheduled for us as the last day of school. But I wanted you to know that we have talked in the last several days about the possibility of using that Monday. A number of local school districts, and especially those who send students to the CIT, our partners there, are going to be using Monday as a day of instruction. That gives us another advantage as a school district, because the CIT will be open for instruction and our students will be able to attend, and that's another reason why we probably should take a look at that if we need to. So if in the course of events we have another weather happening, we may be looking at that schedule change. I just wanted to mention that to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to number 5, reports. U20, Mr. Ryder.
We have our monthly meeting tomorrow night. And that'll be an update on contracts as well as budget.
Thank you. The Easton Public Library was last scheduled to meet February 11th, and the next meeting is March the 11th. CIT, Mr. Ryder, Vandenberg.
We met last Thursday, which was not our scheduled day to meet, but due to the fabulous weather that we just finished talking about, we had to move our meeting up 1 week. Not too much going on, other than we are moving forward with the bond restructure that was brought before the board some time ago. We are moving forth in that process, and we are also we approved the retirement of the business manager over at CIT, Mary Ellen Miller. She's got, oh my God, I can't even put a number to the amount of years that she's got over there, doing a lot of good work. That's about it for CIT.
Community College?
We had a brief meeting. We reviewed the various facilities, again, the enrollment comparisons to see where we stand this year versus last, the budget and everything. But most interesting, we had a demonstration of what they call an innovation lab, of new methods of teaching and what's going on in classrooms and everything, and different from just overheads, and how computers are set up and how they're participatory and everything with the instructors and all. And it was a rather interesting presentation to see, and looking ahead where things are going, because it also includes when you maybe you're not able to be present in a classroom, what you may do over the net and everything. The other thing we had talked about is looking at the outreach to the school districts. There's a lot of colleges outreaching to the districts for participation, making people aware, students aware, and parents aware of what's really out there with the colleges, and also some of the financing and funding that's available. So those were probably two of the biggest items we did, but they're not agenda-type items. Thank you.
Thank you. Foundation for Easton School.
Okay, got a couple of things to talk about in terms of the foundation. I believe maybe it was last month or the month before I told the board about the Everything is Coming Up Roses event that the foundation is having. The plans are going forth with that. The plans are looking very good. Last week, the Save the Date cards were mailed out. We have received 3 $600 sponsorship commitments, one from the Schrin companies, one from RCN, and one from Crayola. Crayola also committed to a basket for the silent auction, which I think is very commendable. We sent out a request to the district, which resulted in 10 baskets. We'd like to see a total of 25 to 30 baskets in all categories to make for good variety. So please take that as a public invitation to come up with a basket. You can contact Kathy Miller here at this building if you would like to do so. We also sent a press release to the Express Times and the Morning Call announcing the gala. We will also be meeting with the chamber. I believe that meeting took place today, to see if they will print for us, even though we are still in talks of becoming members of the chamber. We've also got a very active Facebook page, which I have liked. I hope that everybody else has liked also. Please like our Facebook page, the Foundation for Easton Schools. We have over 300 friends, and we have up to 500 community members viewing each post. We're a community of somewhere around roughly 50 to 60,000, so I think that number needs to climb substantially. I think that's about it. That concludes the foundation report.
Thank you, Mr. Legislative.
Let's see, I'll start with PSBA report. First off, I will say that there's a new PSBA logo, so everyone should take attention to that and be excited for it. It'll be fun to see it on our pages and on our websites and everything. Most importantly, in legislative, the appropriation budget hearings have been going on this last week with closer looks at pension funding problems, and legislators, we're all saying this, that we all need to contact our legislators because there needs to be some fines for solutions and answers to the pension problems and some type of reform so that when we go forward, we'll be able to find resolution to huge financial problems that the state has and we as local school districts have. The acting education secretary explained the governor's budget plan for education this past week, which emphasizes increases in funding, and she also described a new Ready to Learn block grant, $241 million to be used for specific programs within school districts. And she also took some time to urge the legislators to revise current funding formulas for education so that it can better reflect what each school district needs. There's also a brief funding survey on the PSBA website. If everyone could take an opportunity on the board to fill that out, it only takes 5 minutes, and it will probably help them in seeing what direction we all want to go. PDE is also reminding districts how to meet instructional requirements using the 180 days or a number of hours of instruction instead. There are options there, considering that many people have used a lot of snow days, and we all have a lot of issues as far as how we're going to make those up. They also said that there are other ways to look at graduation, to guide graduation dates so that people don't have to move their graduation dates. So I guess if we take a look, I don't know if there are options or not, but The Auditor General is conducting hearings on charter issues, and most recently, locally today, they came, I believe. Is that correct?
It's Thursday, actually.
It's Thursday,
Yeah,
okay.
they had it wrong this week. It's coming up Thursday.
Okay, all right. They'll be coming to the Northampton County and Easton to have conversation with some local educators here regarding charter school issues in funding. And I think that's it.
Thank you. And I'll just add that last part. Our superintendent has been chosen to testify in front of the Auditor General regarding charter schools. Thank you. Mr. Cutts, can you introduce us?
It was my pleasure, Mr. President, to introduce to our Vice President of the Student Council Exec Board, and that is Mr. Elias Bulios. Elias.
Hello, board members. Clearly, I'm not Caitlin Rodriguez, but I'm here just a quick update with what's going on in the high school. We are having a food drive to build up goods for the Backpackers POW program going on over at Cheston Elementary School. Also, we are working for the Special Olympics we're going to be hosting at the high school, or I'm sorry, going to Liberty High School. So we're gathering members up to volunteer for that. Also, the freshman class at the high school is planning its dance. The junior and sophomore classes are collecting class dues. The senior class is preparing for prom in a few months. Just one other note going on in the high school, this Saturday is the Mini-thon, the second annual Mini-thon that benefits the Four Diamonds Fund. Of course, out in Penn State, their thon this past weekend raised over $13 million. So we're having our own Saturday from 4 to 10. All are welcome to come and see what goes on. It's going to be DJ, food, music, dancing, 6 hours. So that's just about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
PTA.
Hello again, Tara Gilligan. First of all, I wanted to extend an invitation to all of you on the board and administration to the PTA Founders Day celebration, which is this week on Thursday, beginning at 6:30 at the Easton Area Middle School in the 7-8 cafeteria. Hors d'oeuvres, light fare will be served before the program begins. I have a note here that in case of inclement weather, it will be moved to March 6th, but I don't even want to say that. For those of you who are new or don't know what the Founders Day is, it celebrates the founding of the PTA, and it's held nationwide in February by all PTAs. It's kind of a marquee event. In our district, it travels from one school to another, so you have to be on the board for about a decade before you get to go to all of them. It's a nice program, and I hope to see all of you there. And Mrs. Leonard Ellison, we're looking forward to seeing you there. I know we'll miss you, Mr. Pintabone. The PTA wants to extend a thank you to the board for both its careful deliberation in the last 2 meetings and its openness to discussing matters with community members. Last week, the March PTA hosted a meet and greet with Mr. Reinhardt and the 3 regional directors who represent that community. It was really informative, and all the speakers spoke candidly. I have recommended that all the PTAs host similar events. Sorry. Council PTA members have also attended a meeting last night with a newly forming task force that has the potential to open dialogue with board members and community members. The more of this that there can be, the better. Thank you to all who participated. Mr. Buscemi and Mr. Fainal were there last night. Last week, Rhea Urban, Palmer PTA President and Council Secretary, partnered with Dean Young of the Boys and Girls Club to organize a forum on bullying. Mr. Stuckles stepped in a pinch, did a nice job speaking. There were a lot of people there. Mr. Reinhardt, Sal Panto, our mayor, Easton police officers, Center for Humanistic Change, plan is to have something ongoing with this, a task force that addresses bullying. In our schools, we have the usual dizzying array of activities planned. Cheston reports a spring book fair going on this week with a Dr. Seuss Read Across America themed family night on Wednesday. In January, Cheston PTA showed Monsters University to 159 people for movie night. They've experimented with a new fundraiser called Eat Local, Support Cheston, which partners with different local restaurants each month. One note, I'm sure you've heard this from many schools, from parents from many schools, but parents have expressed concern with removal of snow on the sidewalks surrounding the schools. I know there's not much, there's nowhere to go with it. At Tracy, their evening book fair was a huge success with over half the student body came to an evening event with their families. They purchased books that supported the PTA and the library programs. Clifford the Big Red Dog made a special appearance, and they raffled off an e-reader to one of their students. The upcoming month brings their talent show on the 28th, Tracy's Got Talent Take 3. They have over 50 acts that have auditioned and more than 70 students participating. Should be a long and fun night. The planting of seedlings will begin in the 3rd and 4th grade classrooms in March as well, and they'll be preparing garden beds to grow fresh organic vegetables. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Do we have any representatives from EAEA here tonight? No. And the bus drivers?
Good evening. Helen Jones, representing the bus drivers and Teamster 773. Once again, we survived another storm, and I thank the board and whoever put the little clip in the paper commending us. That was very nice. I also went to the forum, and I was on the panel itself with Mr. Reinhardt, Mr. Steckel, with the anti-bullying, and I really hope that that continues because I think it's a great thing. I actually, the following day, took a little impromptu survey on my bus about it, and some kids raised their hand when I asked, there were 3 questions. Do you feel you've been bullied? They raised their hand. Did you tell anybody? Have you ever seen anybody being bullied? Okay. And, I had some response. It wasn't overwhelming, but, it goes with the district, really, I think. So, I really hope to see that keep moving. And this Sunday, the bus drivers will be participating in Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl-a-thon up at the Parkway Lanes in Allentown, the AMF Parkway Lanes in Allentown. We're putting a team in there also. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving to number 6, standing committee reports. Last month, we didn't have academics, policy, or athletics. There's the update from buildings and grounds and finance. At this time, is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard on agenda items only? Anybody on agenda items? We're going the wrong way. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, number 9, we have the executive session report. And I'm going to take number 9, 10, 11, and 12, 12A.
Move.
And I have the addendum for personnel, number 10, as it states.
Yep. Well, move.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving on to buildings and grounds. I'm going to pull these out separately. Letter A, the security upgrades project. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion?
Yeah. Just so you know, Frank, I have not seen any contracts on any of these, and without going through them, I can't vote for them.
Okay.
So, just so you understand why no on all 3.
So I don't know if the contracts are in your possession yet, but I know we talked to Mr. Ford, and we will be doing those contracts when they get put together.
These are mostly doing contracts.
Right, I know. And you know what, already where you make changes to them and everything.
Okay. Mr. Ryder, if you would say something?
Well, isn't A on the CMG contractors, explain to me why we would vote on that since they essentially withdrew their bid.
And we formally have to reject.
We have to?
approve.
You have to approve that they're rejected.
Okay.
They withdrew it due to mathematical error within the timelines as designated by the specification.
Yeah.
You know, A is not,
It's a withdrawal, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so we're going to, we have
Right.
to vote on that one, right?
Yes.
So is there any other
do
questions
A
regarding letter A? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, letter B is the security upgrades project. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Discussion.
Frank, is it understood that all these are subject to the solicitor's review? That could, minutes
Can
can
you say
show
that?
that.
I'm sorry, Gary, can you say that?
I'm sorry, yes, all these would be subject to the final review with regard to form, but not to amount, of course.
Just so we're aware that both items, the combination of the two totals.
Yes.
Came in under budget. The estimated budget.
So then, if it's pending your review, then it's not a motion to enter into an agreement, it's a motion to move forward toward entering an agreement. Is that correct?
Right, but it's very typical that, such motions are made, and they're perfectly fine as long as they identify the amount of money that's being approved, with regard to things like whether or not the indemnity clause is satisfactory, or it's, the forum for dispute resolution is satisfactory, that kind of thing is often left to council to approve or not to approve. Of course, it's up to the board whether or not they want to handle it that way, but, given the amount of paper shuffling and the need to move things along, that's often an expedient way that these things are handled. It's a contingent approval. Basically.
And what was our expectation for B? You said it came in below our cap.
The combination of the two, I think the estimate was 1.427, and so it would be a total number of 13777.
Yes.
And also, just so if you recall that, as Mr. Florian indicated, the timeline, why it's here, this meeting is giving the vendor the notice to proceed while Mr. Florian can do the contract. At this stage, every day is important for ordering in order to get in. There's a lot of doors, which is a timely process to get in here for the end of school to start and to have done before school starts in August.
But, Mike, we don't lose anything if we were to make it a voting meeting on this object or this piece at the next committee meeting, correct? I mean, that's a week away. And does that mean that we can have the contracts by then?
From Billy, we can maybe speak to that based on the...
But, Josh, if you could wait just 1 second. Has other board members have an opportunity to go through the information that Mr. Simonetta sent out on Friday? Does any other board member feel that they need more time to look over it? No? No? Okay. I mean, if the majority of the board doesn't, they've seen everything they needed and they're ready to move forward, I don't know if the majority of the board is ready to do that, if prolonging it makes any sense.
And I agree with that. I mean, if the majority's ready to go, I just have this habit that I read contracts before approving them. So.
And I'd say that's a good practice if I could, but believe it or not, the law on this is that as long as the board approves the material aspects of the contract, it's not necessary to have every last word in front of you. But it's whatever the board wishes to do.
Majority.
I would think we move forward on this, because I think time is a factor, and this is something we have been discussing for, more than a couple months. So the reality of it, let's push it forward and let's get it going this summer so we can get this done. Security is an important issue.
So then we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Letter C, security upgrades project. I have a motion. Second. Discussion.
Same discussion. Same discussion.
Same discussion? Nobody was adding anything else to it?
It's the same
Giving everybody a chance to say something? Listen, I've seen us go back in 2 different meetings and change votes, so I'm giving everybody a chance. Okay, hearing none.
Final numbers.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All right, number 14, finance. We're going with no objections. We'll take A, B, C, D.
E, I'd like you to break up, please.
Okay, then we will go to D. So can I have a motion up to letter D? So moved.
Second.
All the, discussion?
Yes, on D, Phoenix Learning, we have $18,000, the way I read it, could be wrong, from January through June. Yet it indicates that we're doing, through them, grading, reporting, grade books, state reports. What are we doing then from the beginning of the year? Are we doing then 2 separate contracts with Phoenix, which would be $36,000? We've already approved one that I forgot. Or how are we doing this?
We did approve up until December 31st. Given the staffing and the amount of support that is needed by the district with Phoenix, the Power School.
Yes, understood perfectly.
We need to extend that.
Gotcha.
And come next year, obviously, we don't anticipate adding staff, so we may be coming forward with the full-year contract in the future.
Okay, thank you. Just needed clarification on that.
Any other discussion? None. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter E. And I'm going to break them out individually for the 3. Can I have a motion to approve the number 1 CIT budget?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 2, a motion to approve the CIU 20 budget.
Motion.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And a motion to approve the NCC budget.
Second.
Any discussion?
Discussion, yes. I will vote no on this. I don't think it's our responsibility as a school district when these students move from seniors to the real world or the world of further education, that we should have to support the community college. I don't like the formula. I think the state needs to change the formula, and I realize that we're probably spitting right into the wind with this, but the reality of it is I'm sure most districts will approve it, but I think somewhere along the line, some district has to have a dissenting vote in order for the state to make changes in how the community college is supported. Obviously, we do it county-wise. Not all community colleges in the state do it that way. And obviously, there needs to be someone to look at that to possibly make it a statewide formula instead of feeling the responsibility of our taxpayers paying kids for essentially secondary education, or post-secondary, excuse me. So I can't vote yes on this, and that's why I asked to pull them out. And nothing against the community college. I think they have a great program. I love what they're doing out there. And they're bringing in a lot of out-of-district kids because they're offering specific programs. But how it's funded and how we're involved with that funding, to me, is not the appropriate way to handle it.
Anyone else?
I'll give just one comment there. if you go back through, and I know we've brought it in here, some of the laws and everything, it's actually set up that the school district is a pass-through option for the community college because they don't have the actual direct taxing authority, the same as the library. The school district acts as a pass-through, and you can do it one of two ways. You can include it as part of or on the outside of your budget, and that becomes a financial decision that Mr. Simonetta ends up looking at. But you can't change the method. You know, you're either doing one method or the other method. In the past, it's been included. But if you look at your tax bill, on the tax bill, it's been broken out so you can tell exactly the amount that we're collecting so that we collect it, it goes out, there is no other differences with it. And again, that's the same thing that we'll be facing with the library as we talk about that.
Mr. President, if I could just add to what Mr. Fanel said, I recently reviewed the Articles of Incorporation, which really date back to 1966, 67, in that particular era. I think the community college started in 67. And initially, the districts from Northampton County entered into a 30-year agreement to tax their communities to be that pass-through agent, as Mr. Fanel indicated. And in around 1997, there was a second extension of, or another extension of the districts in that agreement. So that will take us to the year 2026, I believe. So the articles, in a sense, and I believe all the county districts endorsed that up until 2026. Just for your own information, and so you understand what action took place in the past that sort of binds us now to this payment. However, I don't think that there's anything wrong with us exploring other ways to look at this, because the world is far different than it was back then, and the community college is a far different institution, and it's very, very successful, as you said, in what they're doing. And quite frankly, there are times that I'm thinking they may be more able and better able to pay for their services than those of us who are trying to build a K-12 programs in the county. So I do have those articles. If anybody's interested in looking at them, you're certainly welcome to copy. I have them from the president's office there. So, okay.
Anyone else? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Number 15, miscellaneous. At this point, looking for an appointment of a Shrin TIF representative from this board. Would you like to nominate anyone?
I'd like to nominate Bob.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm an abstain, thank you.
Better abstain.
Okay, at this time, is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard on non-agenda items? You sign in and state your name.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Ed Lamontagne. I've been in Pennsylvania, Easton, since about 2000. Last month's meeting was the first meeting I've ever been here for. And I was completely and utterly shocked. I really was. I'm disappointed, literally. There was people out in the hallway that could not even hear any of you guys. Maybe it's just me, but that is not right. You guys knew well in advance that last month's meeting had a very important topic. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes. Every meeting.
Well, yeah, but the classes were being, possibly teachers being fired, classes canceled. I don't know the details. I didn't stay. I was all the way at the stairs. That's disappointing. There has to be some sort of way that if you know that there's going to be a lot of people here, you can't really expect people to watch the meeting on their iPhones. There's plenty of other schools that can hold a lot more people than people in the hallway. I don't know. Is it just me? Yes, no? I don't know. But I was completely disappointed. Jersey, Warren County, had a big turnout. They changed their location to a high school for a meeting. I don't know if there are a lot of people who showed up, but that's kind of what I expected from you guys. But I was, like I said, very disappointed. There has to be some sort of way to have an alternate location if you guys expect to have a large turnout. That's all.
You just sign in for me, sir. And while you're signing in, I just will say that since I've been on the board 2 years, we moved the meetings out to the high school. One time was the auditorium, one time was the cafeteria, and no one showed up. And that's not a reason, but it does cost us money to move. So since the last 2 meetings that we had, budget meetings that we had that included teachers, taxes, we really did not have a turnout. So last year we moved it back here and we accommodated everybody. Unfortunately, we didn't know that, there was going to be that many people at this meeting. But whenever we do anticipate it and we hear about it, we do move them out into the bigger buildings.
I was last month was my first meeting ever. I'm paying a lot of money for my mortgage. It's just me, myself, and I didn't get to stick around even to see what was going on. I'm disappointed. Okay?
Just to add to you, Frank, we also had moved it to Forks as well as Cheston, too.
Yeah, one of the factors, if I can just mention, is our effort to webcast the meeting. And we've got it set up in this room because we have lots of people who tune in over the internet. And one of the problems that we might have up front, and I don't know if technologically we can do it, but if we move it to another location, I'm not sure we can webcast it from a different point. I don't know, is that possible, Ann?
We can, but sometimes it's not as clear
Okay.
as it is.
All right.
But it's still better than iPhone coverage in the hallway.
Yeah, I understand your point, sure.
And I will say, for heads up, and I don't know if the release went out, but the next few months, our committee meetings will be at various schools in the community.
I work awkward hours. I'm night shift. I just happen to have off last month and this month. And next month, I have no idea, but I'm just saying, I was highly disappointed.
We apologize, sir, and again, we are moving them out into the community the next couple months to try to get more people involved, and from what we've seen last time, so. Thank you.
I think it's important to know also in the past, and I don't think everyone has been on the board since like 6 years ago, but we did find, because I recognize that problem, we all recognize that problem, when prior members of the board that are no longer members of the board recognized that there was a problem with this room in facilitating having the amount of people when we have very volatile issues that are being discussed or high.
If you guys knew that there was going to be, there was a lady of press here. I saw WFMZ cancel the meeting. Have it. They could have the press release done and right there and then. You only need 24 hours notice. Am I right or wrong? 48, 24.
And it does cost us a nice chunk of money to do it. So, like I said, we always try to accommodate. We didn't.
That was not a combination. I'm sorry.
Right, and we're going to try to work on that going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Is there anyone else from the public who would like? Oh, there you are.
Okay, signing in. Okay. Hello again. I am here again. You may remember my name is Scott Sweeney. My mom said that people who come to the board meeting and speak every time can get annoying. But I'll come to every board meeting every month, and I'll speak every time until I might speak every time until I know for sure that you don't take away my lessons. Oh, and they're not just my lessons. Oh no, they're hundreds of kids' lessons. I am just one kid, but there are many that if they came, we would fill this room. Our lessons take us many places. My brother is in orchestra, band, and the wind ensemble in the high school. He plays clarinet, by the way, like me. And the orchestra was invited to China this year. The band every 4 years goes to Disney World. If that isn't enough, they are the only high school band this year who gets the honor to go play at the pregame show at the Orange Bowl. Now, if you take away if you take away lessons, we wouldn't get those opportunities. We might be on the list if we are really, really lucky, but last on the list. I have a petition that I made, and there are 67 students on there, and oh no, that's not all the students who really care about lessons and want to keep them. I've only got one orchestra student because I'm only in band. This is only fifth grade students on the petition. To me, music is part of education, and I wouldn't be able to think, oh yes, tomorrow's band or lessons in the future if you take away band or orchestra lessons. I have always looked up to my 10th grade brother and said, he's so lucky, I can't wait till I'm his age to get to do what he does. Well, if you take away lessons, then you just crushed a little kid's dreams. Also, my friends and other kids might have the same dreams as me, so think about that. If you go through with this, you'll crush so many kids' dreams. So if this doesn't help, then just think of what I said, and also, it's not just me who loves lessons. Many kids do too. Think of that, please. One more thing. You can make a difference. Everyone I know isn't very happy that we could lose our lessons, but that will all change if you keep lessons. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Harneet Mandair, and this is Jalissa Langwa, and we're sophomores at Easton Area High School, and we are here on behalf of DECA.
I would like to start off by thanking you, all of you, for acknowledging of us who placed that district competition in December, which was December 12, 2014. Our members who worked weeks to prepare, and our officers and advisors that ensured us that provide us with tools that needed to exceed. Tomorrow we are heading to Hershey for states for competition, competing across all other DECA chapters in Pennsylvania. For those of you who are unsure what DECA is, it is a business-based organization that prepares leaders not only for the business field but also for the professional workplace. We compete at district, state, and national levels, as well as we hold fundraising events for our members and a variety of charitable organizations.
Over the past 3 years, our number of members has increased from 65 to 152. This did not come easily, as our officer team had to work diligently to advertise DECA's mission and recruit new valuable members. An increased number is more than just a flashy statistic. For us, it means more people to attend competitions and represent the Easton School District. It means more people to raise money for charities like the Muscular Dystrophy Association and the Be Positive Foundation. It means more of our students are interested in investing time to prepare for their futures. Members of DECA have the opportunity to travel to leadership academies where students from all around the nation are present, and even some students from other countries.
They have opportunities to network with other students, which we'll be doing tomorrow with other DECA members who are going to be competing in our events. And they have multitude of opportunities for us to become leaders and just to experience what it means to be a leader and how to lead a chapter. Without DECA, many of our members would not be where they are today, and we wouldn't have as big as DECA family that we have at the Easton Area High School, which everybody really cares about, and our members are increasing. With DECA, members have allowed themselves to stand in front of the crowd and express their ideas and not have that fear of public speaking anymore, or to unleash their inner DECA leadership. DECA is the great importance of all the members, and I thank you for giving us this time to speak on behalf of the Easton Area DECA chapter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak? Not tonight. Mr. Anderson, is it
Yeah.
Definitely put back on the floor. Yeah, we should say that. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak regarding non-agenda items?
I just have a question. Do you want me to sign in? Okay. It was just about the movement to different schools. Do you know where they'll be at, or when will it be
We haven't, and I feel bad. I put it together and I forgot.
Okay.
So I forgot the school, but Joe, I have it on you? Okay, let's see. March 4th will be at Paxenosa. April 1st, we'll be back here. May 6th, we'll be at Palmer. June 10th, we'll be at Cheston. We have no committee meetings held in August or September. And August, pardon me. September 9th will be at Shawnee Elementary. And then the following year, we'll go to others.
Okay. Thank you.
And you'll get that on the website, right?
Anyone else? All right, seeing none, thank you for the people who did come out and speak tonight. Any other business from board members? I have a question to Mr. Buscemi and Mr. Fainall. Last night was the first meeting of the committee that was put together, and I appointed a board member last meeting to attend. Can you not share with us how it went?
I thought it went very well. We had some very talented people there with some really good ideas and the energy to try to get these ideas put in place. What we're trying to do now, or what the committee is trying to do now, is recruit other members for subcommittees. And the first thing that I think that of importance that's coming up is on the 10th, we're going to have they're going to have a teachers forum where we're trying to get the high school and invite the teachers to come and give us their input on how we can make things better, things that we can do to possibly cut costs and just make the district an all-around better district. And then we're going to do the same thing 2 times with the community nights at different locations. These all they'll be announced by the committee, and hopefully, people will come out and people will get involved, because last night we had some pretty heavy hitters there. The mayor was there. We had Representative Bob Freeman there. A couple of the people in the room here tonight were there. Kurt was here, and then Jim was here. I don't know if anybody else was here, but the discussion was very productive, and we have a direction to go, and that direction includes to keep this thing going, to build momentum, to keep this thing going, to keep the community involvement and activity present in how the school district is run. I thought it went very well.
Thank you.
He covered it.
Thank you. Before we go to any other board members, Mariah, I'm glad to see you here this evening. I saw you downtown, and you brought up some concerns you had. I spoke with our superintendent before you leave at the conclusion of this meeting. If you can come up and speak to him, he has some answers for you. Thank you. Any other business from board members?
Yes. On the Easton Area School District Level Comprehensive Plan, in going through that today and looking at it, and obviously having a little bit of background in professional development and some of the administrative things that go on, I really think it would be nice in the educational area of our committees to preview that with the board and the public. Because when we deal with professional development, professional education core foundation, district level plans, district initiatives, district assessment data, and to create individual school improvement plans, which I think people should really get an update on. I think it would be nice to look at those and break it down, and not the whole ball of wax in one meeting, but break it down in certain areas where in the academic committees, prior to getting into scheduling and maybe some more budgetary things, where we can get a good overview from all the board members, for all the board members, as well as the public. Thank you.
I just want to take a minute to commend those members of the public who have been so vocal and who have been so active and have participated in these meetings and proceedings that we've held. I don't think that it is unknown to anybody that we are in very difficult times. And the willingness to help is definitely appreciated. And the willingness to take a part of this and to pay close attention to the process of what we're doing is greatly appreciated. I'd even go as far as to extend a challenge to those who are willing to be so active and put their hands on the plow. If you can convince 3 people to be as active as you are, those who are paying a lot of attention to this thing that we call education here, if you can convince as little as 3 people to be as committed as you are, I think that is how we will, turn this into a community effort rather than a few folks' effort. As a working individual with a schedule that can be a little challenging at times, I speak for myself, but I'm sure the rest of the board agrees that in any way that I can be a part of any of these community actions, I will definitely do it, time allowing. Thank you.
I have one question, and it's probably for Mr. Semineta. I've noticed over the last couple weeks, and I did bring attention to this to Mr. Case, and he's aware of it, but when school signs fall down for some reason, and they're not erected quickly, it's an issue, especially in schools that are not quite so clearly identified otherwise. And Forks is one of those that's that way. You come down a hill and the sign is totally eliminated. And apparently Forks says that the school district owns the ownership of replacing it. Is that correct?
Different in communities.
Right. So I'm just asking you, it's been 2 weeks, Mr. Case is aware of it, he talked to me about it and said that it was the school district's responsibility. I have concerns that, I feel that it's the community's responsibility. So I'm wondering if there is an opportunity for us to have more conversations, and I've talked to Mr. Case about this and he agrees with me, more conversations with Forks regarding because this is a dangerous situation now. It's 2 weeks out. There's no sign flashing there. There's no sign at all that there's a school. You wouldn't know it if you were driving down Richmond Road, which gets a lot of traffic. It's concerning.
He did bring my hand to the conversation, and I had to reach out to one of the supervisors just to see if we can get the conversation going, see how we can solve this. In the meantime, Tim, I don't know.
Putting us out there this week, digging out what's left of the remainder of that sign after it was hit by a passerby in one of the snowstorms. we're gonna try to get that post back up, even if it just says, school zone, 15 miles an hour. We may not have blinking lights there, but at least make people aware that the school is upcoming, to them to possibly slow down. And I know that the Forks Township Police do patrol that area. I was actually there today. There's quite a bit of snow to remove from that spot, because when the township did plow that road, a lot of it was sort of piled there on that corner. So there's probably presently about 4 foot of snow that's fairly heavy, isolated to dig out to get to that sign. But we'd like to get something temporarily put up there, as we spoke last week, just to make people aware that a school is coming, and that hopefully they will slow down until we can get a new flashing sign there. I think that once we complete that and the new post has been put in, and maybe Mr. Simonetta and myself could get back to Forks Township and see that if we could possibly turn those signs over then again to the township, since they are in working order and have been inspected. Hopefully they will consider taking them on as part of the township signaling.
And I guess that's my reason for bringing it up tonight, not to place blame on any of us, but to open some dialogue as to how we can address this in the future, because this is, in my mind, this is atrocious that the district, not the school district, but the township, as in that there's schools located, and these are laws, and there are no signs for warning. And you would think that if this sign got knocked over, that the township would take it upon themselves. So I guess I would be more than happy to go to the township, but I would need the graces of the board to do that. But I feel that it is negligent on their part that we're not able to rectify this in a timely fashion, and school continues to go on. And like you said, there's snow, there's a lot of issues, a lot of safety issues right now. And not having a sign there is a huge problem.
I mean, the flashing part of it is involved because it means getting med ed involved. There's power to that post. There's an electrical meter on that post that the district pays money on for that power to make that flash. There's a lot of little things that are on that post that makes it a few hoops to jump through. But we will, this week, we will see something temporarily up there with that.
And I appreciate that, but I guess I'm opening this up for discussion so that we, can we make a decision here at the board level that we would like to have some dialogue with the township?
As I said, I already made a call out to one of the supervisors that I know, and hopefully I'll hear back from him soon. What I can do is update the board on that conversation, maybe take it from there on how the board wants to make it more formal. If we're not getting anywhere with that, that's what we do.
I just feel it's important to address, because obviously this is not just a one-time, this is an ongoing issue, because the ownership of that sign is a huge, not just that sign, but all. Forks Township has 3 schools located in its community. This is a huge issue.
Yeah, I'm not making just this one issue, I'm making it
in general.
Permanent agreement.
Right.
Gentleman's agreement, if you will, moving forward.
Right.
And I think Tim will brought up about talking to the supervisors to see if they'll take ownership.
I agree with that. I just think that, the board needs to move forward on a decision as a board, a direction to go forward on, so that we.
Should we wait to hear what Mike comes back with from the supervisor this week?
That's fine. I'll just bring attention to the fact that that one particular sign has been down for 2 weeks, and part of the issue is that we have no resolution as to who's going to take ownership of these signs. This is ridiculous.
Frank, you mentioned before you were going to meet with the teachers. Can you share any of that with us, or?
We met with the teachers, the council Tuesday? We can go Thursday. We can go Thursday, and it was honestly, I thought it was a very good meeting, very open, good discussion, and they're going back to their membership to talk to them, so you know, we're waiting to hear, you know, what they discuss with the memberships. Very good meeting. Is there any other? Seeing none, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.